Here we go.
Aloha! It's time to rebuild the University of Hawaii Rainbow Warriors in College Football 25. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to my first ever Dynasty on College Football 25. How's everyone doing? I'm fired up to be bringing you guys College Football 25 content for the first time on my channel. I've been playing the game for a little over a week now, and I absolutely love it. Can't wait to share all of these amazing moments with you guys that we're going to have here. If you don't know already, my first Dynasty school was decided through a 12-team playoff where I evened out the overalls of the teams and simmed every game on stream with College Football Revamped. This is what the bracket ended up looking like, and obviously, Hawaii was the one that survived the Dynasty Decider playoff. If you missed any of that action, I have highlights from every game on my channel. I streamed every game, so go check it out. If you're new here and want to keep up with my college football content, or make your way over to my EAFC content that's obviously a bit more popular, then make sure you subscribe and click the bell to turn on notifications, join the family. And if you like any parts of this video with Hawaii and want to show your support for all the work I've done for this video and this series, make sure you smash that like button below. Now, we're going to be rebuilding Hawaii, a 1.5-star school, which is going to be an ultimate challenge in terms of recruiting, being that we're located on an island way off the west coast of the US. But before we get into any of that, let's meet your head coach. We are going to be creating our own coach and choosing the recruiting archetype. Obviously, you can choose from these three in the new game, but with building a team from a 1.5-star program, trying to build them up and be one of the best, we want to be a recruiter. And meet your head coach of Hawaii, Aloha Joe, who is 7 foot tall, 400 pounds of man, a big Hawaiian football-loving giant. His story is awesome. He's a Hawaiian native who fell in love with Hawaii football after the wild success of the 2006 and 2007 teams, who went 11-3 and 12-1. And in 2007 had the #1 offense in the country, led by quarterback Colt Brennan, and actually made it to a BCS bowl game, to the Sugar Bowl, and played against Georgia. Even though they lost, those teams were remembered in Hawaii football folklore for sure. Now Aloha Joe has a modest life, coaching his son's youth football team, but has been trying to contact the university for years. He's been trying to come up with ideas. He loves Hawaii football, he loves his state, and he's been hoping to get a chance at the head coaching job for years. After many efforts, though, his persistence is finally paying off now. And just looking at the way he's setting it up, he wants to run a pro-style offense different from the Hawaii run and shoot that became so popular with those high-powered offensive teams. 4-2-5 defense. He went to Hawaii. His pipeline is Hawaii. We gotta keep our players in state. Now, you see those successes in the 2006-2007 season, but you look down the line, Hawaii football hasn't been very good. Only 3 times has Hawaii been over 500 in the last 13 years, but now with Aloha Joe signing the contract, it's a new era of Rainbow Warrior football. Now here's a first look for you at the Dynasty menu in Dynasty mode of College Football 25. It's great, it's got a lot of options, but these are our to-dos right now. We've got to set up our recruiting board find some prospects for us to scout for the future, customize our schedule, and upgrade our new coach. But before we do any of that, I want to meet our Hawaii Rainbow Warriors for the first time. And it's unfortunate, but there's something to be said about Stephen McBride. Unfortunately, he's been in the news recently in real life, and not for a good reason. He was arrested recently, suspended indefinitely from Hawaii football. So we're actually going to follow that storyline in this game. I hope that situation figures itself out and it was actually not him or something, but either way, we're not going to mess around with that. As much as he's our best player, he is a senior, so this will be his last year for Hawaii in real life, and we're not even gonna try playing with him in this game, which is sad. It sucks. Of course, something like that happens, but that's college football. You have to adjust, you have to regroup, and move on quickly. So we're gonna operate this dynasty without Stephen McBride, and that's okay in my mind. I think whatever happens there, it's still his last year, and we're building for the future. We're not building for this first year. This first year is still gonna be fun, though. And we're gonna be led by our senior quarterback. Speaking of seniors, Braden Shager, who was a 2-star quarterback coming out of high school in Texas and has really become a great player for Hawaii. Absolutely going to be our star player. It's nice having a great quarterback for sure. Let's go position by position, actually. Let's start at quarterback. We've got a freshman backing him up, Micah Aloha, who looks like a quick scrambler, could be a good one for the future for us. Definitely a different kind of quarterback than Braden Shager, so I'm interested to see if we end up loving him. I don't know if we're going to need to recruit a quarterback, but with only 3 on the roster and 1 leaving, we definitely are going to have to recruit at least 1. Running back is going to be the Cam Barfield show. The elusive sophomore running back from Vegas is awesome. Look at his numbers, 97 acceleration, 97 change of direction, good agility and speed, and he's 5'7". I can already tell I'm going to absolutely love him. And this team is absolutely stacked with running backs. No seniors on the roster at running back. Cam's a sophomore, Landon Sims is a receiving back junior, Tylen Hines is a junior, Christian Vaughn is a junior, Derek Boyd is a freshman, which is good because we have a lot of these 3 juniors are going to go after next year, so we are probably going to have to recruit 1 running back maybe. But honestly, with Cam Barfield as a sophomore, we could go without recruiting a running back for this class. No fullback on the roster. That's something I'm absolutely going to be changing. Stephen McBride will not be our top receiver. It's going to be redshirt sophomore Pofele Ashlock, who burst onto the scene last year for the Rainbow Warriors and is going to be our top receiver. He's 6'2", and the Texas native is going to hopefully connect a lot with our Texas quarterback. And then we've got some senior leadership with Kawali Nishigaya, who's also a 5'7" native of Hawaii. He's a speedster on the outside. Excited to see what we can get from him. We've got Nick Kenical, I don't really know how to say that. Alex Perry is an absolute threat as a sophomore, 6'5" receiver with decent speed. He could be fun to use. Dekel Crowdis, Jonah Panoke. We've got Carson Pupanu. We've got Tamatoa Mokiao Atimalala, a deep threat. But all 3 of these guys are seniors, and Nishigaya being a senior and Stephen McBride not being here, we need at least 2 receivers in our recruiting class, probably 3 to be honest. We need to load up on receivers. Tight end, we're not looking that bad. 1 senior, probably want to recruit 1 tight end. I'm just keeping this in mind, and for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about with seniors and whatnot, if you're coming here from my FC content, let me explain this a little bit for you. Basically, we have 4 years of all of these players, pretty much tops, maybe 5 if we get a graduate year, but I don't think that happens in this game. But basically, all of these players are at school. They're going to Hawaii at the University of Hawaii for school, to be educated. And then on top of that, they're playing Division I football against the best programs in the country for the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. And as a head coach, we get to bring in new players. So in 3 years, we won't have Devin Tauefa anymore. We won't have DeJuan Walton. And after this year, Solomon Landrum, since he's a senior, will be leaving as a 5'11" tight end. It's kind of odd, but basically we constantly have to be thinking about replacing players. And as we look through the roster, we're looking for seniors to replace, and even juniors have to give us a little bit of an urgency to maybe go and find some new recruits. So that's kind of what we're doing here. Now I want to quickly go through the rest of the roster, and any key players I'll note. We're not going to go over every position. Skill positions are the most fun. That's why we've gone over those. Decent left tackle. He is a junior, but we're going to want to recruit an outside tackle for sure. Absolutely gonna need a left guard. We're not gonna need a center unless we can find one that wants to come to us. A lot of underclassmen there, and they will develop a little bit, and we're okay at right tackle. Probably gonna need 2 outside tackles, to be honest, but our offensive line is shaky, so we're going to need a lot of help there, in my opinion. And here's how our defense shakes up. We're okay at left end. We definitely need to scout for a right end. We're going to need at least 2 D tackles, knowing that we run a 4-3. Outside linebacker is okay, but if we find one, we might take one in recruiting. Absolutely need at least 1 middle linebacker, like I said. Could use some outside linebackers, but we're kind of okay there with a freshman like Richard Castro. But then there's cornerback, and we need cornerbacks for sure. We're losing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cornerbacks out of our 8. So I think we need to bring in at least 3 cornerbacks in recruiting, which is crazy. At least 1 free safety, knowing that we're losing 3 out of 5. And we probably don't need to bring in a strong safety, but it couldn't hurt. And we need a kicker. So a lot of recruiting to do. Let's get into it. One last thing before we recruit, forgot to mention, we did edit the depth chart so that it's Bofele Ashlock as our #1 receiver, Nishigaya, Senecal, Perry, and McBride's now not an option at receiver. Now, the first thing that I've noticed is pretty new about this game is coaching archetypes, so you can really change how your coach gets better at certain things, but not everything. And since we're only using the recruiting archetype for now, we kind of have to master it and choose one of these things to give our first 5 skill points to. And obviously, I think our main focus is going to be wide receivers and tight ends early on in recruiting, and defensive backs, but can only spend 5 points right now. Let's set up our recruiting board for the first time. Very exciting. Now, recruiting is interesting. There's probably many ways to do it, in my opinion, but I have a system that I like to use. We want to be a little bit aggressive, but also pretty safe. So these are the recommended recruits. You see, we can also look for 4 stars, 5 stars players in our state. But specifically right now, I want to rank and see who are the highest rated recruits that this game recommends that we go for. And what we're looking at as well is interest. And it doesn't seem like any of the top recruits that are recommended are interested in us off the bat. Doesn't mean we can't get them, especially with no offers. No offers is key, not this week, but more next week and the week after that. If players still don't have offers at a certain point and they're highly rated, you can really go after them and make up some ground. But for now, obviously none of these high recruits are interested in us, so this is the first one on the board. Antonio Gillen, a left-handed quarterback field general from Hawaii who's 6'5" and is already having us 5th on his board. Yes, please. He will absolutely be one for the future for us. A Hawaiian quarterback is exactly what I want to get right off the bat. Couldn't be a better start. How about Gio Arnett, a left end? And he's a little bit interested in us, so let's just add him to the board for now. I'm going to be doing this for a while. I'm probably going to take some risks, find some 4 stars, but I'll show you the whole board in a second. Alright, so I've filled up my board with recruits, and the first thing I'll say is, as I scroll through these names, don't fall in love with any name, any player specifically. I made that mistake first time around recruiting because big teams come in and swoop in at late and take your players all the time. As a 1-star, as a low prestige school early on, it is hard to recruit. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be the hardest year. Each year is going to get easier and more exciting, and we're going to have more prestige and chances to get bigger players, but you got to take some risks in the first year. And looking at a guy like Soma Shin, I will use him as an example. So there's things we can do once we set up our recruiting board, and you see in the top right, we have 500 hours in this preseason to really scout and offer scholarships and recruit and do all the fun things. So the first thing I'm going to be doing with a lot of players, I'm not going to show it, I'm going to go through and do it after I talk about this, is scout. And you really want to scout the players that you have similar to other players. And what I've done, I'll show you with receiver here, I'll show you with corner. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 corners that I've targeted for now, and I haven't scouted any of them. I'm going to go through and scout a number of them and try to find really gems or just good players that have good speed, good coverage, whatever. And then once I scout, I can rule out some of these players, like I can take off 2 of these guys and leave 1 guy if he's better than the others after I scout them. But the one thing I will say about scouting in the beginning is I don't scout any 4-star players, because chances are, even if they're a bust, even if they suck, they're still as good as a 3-star player, which is still very much good enough for our program, believe me. So taking a chance on 4-star prospects from the beginning is just something you have to do. You absolutely have to do if you want to compete in recruiting. You don't want to forget about your 3 stars at all, but with Antonio Gillen, I'll make another point here. When you see the overview, sure, we're in his top 5, but let's go to a guy like Leati Anger, who we're not in his top 5. We're not even in his top 8 or 9, but you look at the yellow bar just to the right of his picture, and it shows you a timeline of his decision making. So as long as a player has no offers and they're well before the top 8 stage when they first make their first cutoff, you have time to make up ground and really put yourself in the top 8 for sure. Basically, as long as you offer a scholarship, once the player gets to their top 8, you'll be in the top 8, and then maybe do a little something more recruiting. But for now, I'm gonna go scout a lot of the players that I have similar positions for and start to narrow down this list just a little bit more, because we're really gonna only want to end up signing 20 or 25 players by the end of the season. Alright, so now the board is completely set up, all of our hours are used, we have 26 guys on the board. Let me go position by position. Antonio Gillen, we didn't have to scout, he's a 3-star quarterback from Hawaii, we want him. Wide receiver, we have 5 guys we've offered scholarships to, we really only want 3 of them. Soma Shin, 4-star wide receiver from Hawaii, we want him, no doubt. Larry Dixon is quick, he's little, he's a deep threat, we want him as well. Alu Fohai is a gem, which we found out from California, absolutely want him. And then McKay and Nagy are both speed, deep threat type of players that if we can't get one of these 3, we need to go after them. So we've offered scholarships to all of them. Bobby Hawker, tight end, 6'6" vertical threat. He's from South Carolina, sure, but he's got every intangible we want from a tight end. At tackle, we've got Richard Vaccaro, who I did scout and found out he's a gem. We want to go after him. Vernon Sanders, we're in his top 8, and he is definitely a player we want to go for as a 2-star. You need to have some 2-stars in there as well. Viliami Bada from Hawaii, he's a 4-star. We want him. Basically, we're going to go all out for him. Leati Anger from Hawaii, he's also a guard. We want him as well. Any high-prized Hawaii prospects, we're going for. Fiala, Hawaii, we want him. In terms of a DN, we don't need many, but we're going to go after Gio Arnett since we're already 9th on his list of 10. And Tua Fua on the board, honestly just for his name. D-tackle, we found 2 names. James Parms is a gem, we want him. Schaefer is not sure, but he's got 90 strength and he's a huge 6'6" run stopper, so definitely not a bad thing. 2-star Devontae Booker, might as well go for him. He's from Hawaii. When we get a chance, we're going to go for him. Kevin Thomas from Utah, looks like a pretty solid middle linebacker, 87 speed. He looks solid. Stockton's already interested in us, so we might as well go for him. Corner, we need many, and we actually found 4 that really look good. Andre Kiki's a 4-star. Earl Schulters is a 6'3" zone corner who's a gem. Nick Jones just looks like a solid corner, not a gem, not a bust. And Jamerson Tongs was already interested in us, so we're going to give him a scholarship. Mateo Batista, free safety, gem. We want him. Strong safety, we don't have any. And Quincy Catula. If you know what I've learned with kickers, you might as well just take a shot on any 3-star and go all in for them as much as you can. Get at the top of their board and just ride it out and see what you can get. So we're going to go for an accurate kicker from Massachusetts, bring him all the way across the country, and then some, just because kicking is so damn hard in this game. Next thing we're going to take a look at is custom schedules. I don't want to mess with the schedule much. The only thing I did do is reschedule. This was another FCS game here in week 4. I just changed it to Miami of Ohio, a MAC opponent that we can host, because we already have an FCS school in week 0, so might as well schedule a little bit harder of a team. Just give us more of a chance to develop and feel better. Obviously, I think we're going to win this game. This would be an obvious win as well, but now Miami of Ohio, I'd feel a little bit better if we beat a team like that. And it's a fun opponent, why not? But you look at the rest of the schedule as we head into Mountain West play. We're also playing Washington State, who are in the Pac-12, and if you didn't know, the Pac-12 is down to just 2 teams. So both Pac-12 schools, Washington State and Oregon State, are playing a Mountain West schedule this year, even though they're not going to be counted toward the Mountain West standings. I don't really know how that works, but that is our schedule for year 1. So after simming 1 week, there's some things we need to go over with recruiting. Luckily, Soma Shin and Andre Kiki still have no offers, so we can send the house for them and probably jump into their top 5, even maybe be their top school if we push hard. However, we're going to lose all of our high-priced Hawaii prospects. Fiala has already got an offer from USC. We're not going to win that battle. Viliami Bada has 3 offers. We're not going to win that battle. Richard Vaccaro, 3 offers already. Schulters, 4 offers. Not going to win those battles. Larry Dixon, might take a chance on him, but we have other receivers we're looking at, so we're not going to go for him. This is why we scouted so many guys, why we have a lot of backups. Kevin Thomas, not going to work out. Batista, luckily, is ours, hopefully. Parms, Nick Jones, Alufohai we can go after. Anger, who's from Hawaii, we can go after. We're going to lose Bobby Hawker. Going to go for Arnett. We're one of 3 offers on there. Schaefer we might get. Sanders we should get. Antonio Gillen loves us, which I love. Katula has no offers, which is great, minus us. So I'm going to redo some of the list here, get rid of some of the guys that we're definitely not going to get, like Viliami Bada. You can just say goodbye to him. We're not going to beat out any of those schools, and I'll come back to you in a minute. Alright, so we've readjusted our board. Let me show you what's changed. Batista's moved up, Jones has moved up, Parms has moved up, all of our gems. Alufohai has also moved up, and we've adjusted some hours. Now we've got some new names on the board. Replacing our 4-star center is Larry Lawrence. Replacing our 3-star middle linebacker from Utah is Jabu Kamalu from North Carolina. And a player like him I like targeting because you see where his yellow bar is to the right of his face. It's not really close to the top 8, so he's not necessarily going to make his decision yet. So we don't really have to put a lot of effort into him right now, but we can once he gets closer to his top 8. And since we offered and no one else has right now, we're in good shape for now. We just got to keep adjusting as things change. Our new tight end on the board is Victor Wolf. Our new guard on the board is Ben Crumpler, who's definitely interested in us. He's agile. He's already in his top 8. Definitely a chance we want to take. And our new receiver on the board is Jesse Polanco from Vegas. We actually scouted him last week in our full trip of scouting, and he's pretty good. He's got 95 speed, okay catching, but seems like a definite good prospect for deep shots. Now, recruiting is all set for the week. We are in week 0, and we do have a matchup against FCS East, the Astronauts. In real life on the schedule, Hawaii is playing Delaware State in this matchup in week 0. We're going to play it now. I'm going to show you some of the highlights, not all of them, but probably just the bigger plays and the more exciting things that happen for the Rainbow Warriors here on opening day for us. So let's waste no more time and see the Rainbow Warriors in action. It's a little stormy on the island. Not exactly a full house, but this is not the real stadium for Hawaii. That's one of the things that really bothers me about this game so far, unfortunately, but fortunately, let's play some football. Look at big Aloha Joe. 3 and out for Hawaii on our first possession defensively, and we're gonna get the football. Here we go, Nishigaya to return. The punt is really short. We're going to fair catch it, get it around the 45, and it's time for Popeli Ashlock, Braden Shager, and crew to take over. Cam Barfield taking the halfback screen, and Cam Barfield on the first play from the line of scrimmage takes the screen to the end zone. Touchdown, Hawaii! Come on, lads! I love the commitment to the painting the chest in the rain. It's not smearing, but Cam Barfield is already off to a good start. Look at the little dump off to Cam Barfield, shifting around the defense already. 1 play, 1 touchdown. And we've missed the extra point. God damn it, it's so easy to make those. The extra points are actually the easiest of the kicks, but that is why we are scouting, recruiting a kicker. Come on, a lot of room to run here. It's a halfback stretch. Barfield gets around a man, and Cam Barfield already off to a good start. 23 yards after a big passing play. He is already showing his electricity. More running for Barfield. Spin move. Oh my god. Slippery in the rain. We are going to be running the ball a lot today with that rain. I know the weather does have an effect on players in this game, so maybe not a lot of Braden Shager today. But let's see if we can come up with a pass here. We're going to go play action. I see Pofeli Ashlock running. The throw's a little behind him, but Pofeli Ashlock to the end zone! Another touchdown for Hawaii! Quick fire, good start. Loving this from our Bows. So obviously FCS East is not a good opponent. We are gonna run all over them in this game. We're probably gonna, just dominate. So far it's seeming that way, but this is a good warm-up, a good chance for you to see a lot of our players. Let's see if anything else crazy happens in this game. It's just been an absolutely picture-perfect start so far. Oh, wide open. Nishigaya! Look at the little man! Speed to the end zone! Literally just after I said, is anything big gonna happen? Big play! Touchdown! Again! And some more kicking practice here. Just trying to get the accuracy right. A little bit weak, but it is good. We're gonna go into the half up 23-7. Taking a shot here. Shager has a man. Reverse flea flicker to the house. Senecal! Touchdown! What a play! A little trickery from Hawaii. 3 and out for FC East. We've got the football back. We're up by 23. It's looking real good for the Rainbow Warriors here. Cam Barfield still going. Oh, more Barfield. Easy. Just go down, Cam. Super Cam! Another touchdown for number 9. Oh my god, more Cam Barfield. Look at the space. Look at the spin. He's unstoppable. This dude's incredible. Cam to the house again. I mean, I absolutely want to check the difficulty after this game because it seems like Cam Barfield is playing on his own difficulty in his own world out there. Super Cam's coming for Heisman, and yes, this is technically Delaware State FCS East, but who cares? He's still ballin'. We can get it to our big young receiver, Alex Perry, and he is over the middle! 6'5", finding himself in the end zone for his first touchdown of the year. And that is going to do it! 51-14 is your final for Hawaii. 5 touchdowns for Braden Shager, many for Cam Barfield. Let's go check the stats. 601 yards of offense for Hawaii. That's one of the highest totals I've had in this game so far. Braden Shager, 15 of 21, 337, 5 touchdowns and a pick. Absolutely ballin' out there. You want to talk about ballin'? 16.8 yards per carry for Cam Barfield, 12 rushes, 202 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He added a receiving touchdown as well. How about 5 different receivers catching touchdowns for the Bows? What a first game this was. Great in every single way. And that is gonna do it for episode 1 here with the Rainbow Warriors of Hawaii, our absolutely awesome dynasty that we've started here. More to come next week. I don't know if we're gonna go 1 week at a time. We might do a few weeks next episode and do a little bit less gameplay, do the highlights of each game. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you think of the episode, what you think of Hawaii. A lot of things you can comment. Just say hi to me if you want. Make sure you subscribe, like if you haven't already. And until I see you next time with the Bows, this has been Therios. You'll never walk alone.